Hey guys, welcome back to Win,
Where we heal.
Elevate and navigate this thing called adulting. Welcome back, guys.
All right, so we're going to start off with a Reddit story. And this is from our stories, user HK0G. So this is going to be some juicy tea, ladies. So
Okay.
um, the title is My Neighbor Has Been Spying on Me.
Mm.
Mm. Okay. Sounds a
All
little
right.
juicy already.
Yeah, all right, let's sip our tea, okay? So, 27 female, moved into this apartment about 2 months ago. It's an older building, nothing fancy, but it's in my budget and I mostly work from home, so I was excited to have my own space. The next door neighbor, Mr. Johnson, 83 male, seemed friendly at first, just your typical older guy who likes to chat. But over the last few weeks, he started making comments that felt off. At first, I chalked it up to thin walls or coincidence, but now I don't think so. It
Mm.
started with small things like I'd step out to check the mail. He'd say, "Working late last night, huh?" Even though I hadn't mentioned my schedule. One morning I slept in. He greeted me with, "Catching up on rest today?" Weird, but whatever. Then last week it got more specific. I was rearranging my home office setup. My desk is against the wall near the vent. And the next day when I ran into him outside, he said, "You sure like moving that desk around, don't you?" That made me pause because I hadn't made much noise. It wasn't like I was
Mm.
dragging furniture loudly, just shifting things a bit. Now, the final straw was last night. I was on a video call with my best friend, just venting about personal stuff. Nothing loud, just a normal conversation. Today, I saw him in the hallway and he smiled and said, "It's tough, isn't it? Feeling stuck between what you want and what's expected of you." That was almost
Mm.
exactly what I had said on that call. I felt sick. I got back into my apartment and I started looking around. I don't know why, but my gut told me to check the vents near my desk. I took a flashlight and there was a tiny black camera inside. It was angled directly at my desk in bed. Okay. I took a picture and removed it. I have no idea how long it's been there or if there are any more. I don't know if he put it there himself or if he had someone else do it. But he's the only person I can think of who would have access. I feel violated and gross, and I don't know what to do. Do I go to the landlord first, the police? I'm scared if I report it, he'll deny everything and nothing will happen. What if this has been going on the entire time I lived here? So, what advice would you give her, ladies?
Let's start with you, Missy. What do you think?
Uh, First of all, I would move. Um, Second of all, I would definitely go to the police.
Yes.
I'm sure they can probably track like IP address and all of that good stuff. And then I would cut off any sort of interactions with Mr. Johnson or whatever his name was. Because I wouldn't necessarily want him to know that I'm to him, so
Mhm.
to speak, so that things could potentially escalate. And I would, just let the leasing officer know, like, hey, I need to break my lease, I need to move, I need to go. Because who knows, they could be in on it too. So those would be the three steps that I would follow. Yeah, Mr. Johnson would probably find some stairs, but so that I don't end up in jail, I would definitely take it to the police and let them handle it and just stop interacting with that individual.
Yeah. What about you, Fab?
Well, I have to agree with Missy. Everything she said is on point. I would definitely reach out to the police and from there take that report into the apartment office and get out of that lease, get out of there. Because who's to say there's not any other cameras in there? So, and
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely a good reason to get out of her lease. So,
Right.
kudos for her just for being vigilant and just also just picking up on the cues from
Right.
this guy. Yeah. So, uh, ditto, ditto, ditto.
Hey.
Yeah, definitely commend her on that because one, I know she's probably feeling like, sick to her stomach and thinking like she said, this is something I found. Her little sense of freedom and peace is now taken away
Hmm.
Mhm.
because of someone's,
Yeah.
you know, someone's
It's
sinful act.
definitely something that will make you feel totally violated, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
and very cautious moving forward, even in your own
Not
home. And
knowing what
that's
he's
something no
capable
one
of.
ever wants to feel is uncomfortable in where you lay your head. And
Yes.
so, yeah. Mm. Ooh,
Thanks for
child.
sharing that.
Oh, yes.
That was a good one.
Awesome story. Looking
Yeah.
forward to the next one.
Hmm. All right, so we're going to get into the show, guys. So today's show is going to be a continuation of our first episode where we talked about budgeting, set our family up for success, and some of our little self-care things that we're doing to just, enjoy ourselves and romanticize our life in 2025. And so as we think of self-care, self-care comes in many forms and is different for each individual. Self-care can be buying yourself roses on Saturday. Self-care can be taking a relaxing bubble bath. And so in this episode,
Hmm.
we're going to talk about some things that we do to prioritize self-care as busy moms and busy working women. And so first thing, we're going to talk about morning routines, right? And so
Yes.
for me, do you guys have morning routines? Yes, no, maybe a little
Morning
bit.
routine.
Not
Yes,
a
I have
consistent
a
morning routine.
100% morning routine.
Okay. So this year, I would say, well, this last month and a piece, right? Has been my first time really in a long time, I would say that really being intentional about a morning routine. And so I wanted to share my morning
Hmm.
routine with you guys, and you can add on, if you have something additional to share. And so at the start of this year, we mentioned that we will be prioritizing self-care. And so for me, I
Hmm.
am more of a night owl. And so in the morning, I like to sleep in just a little. And when I say sleep in, it's usually about 7:15, 7:30. I'm up before
Okay.
then, but I'm just laying there, visualizing my day, having my conversation with God and things of that sort, and just taking it easy, starting it slow. And once I get up, of course, mom duty. And then once I drop the kids off, before I
Mom
log into
duty.
my computer, mom duty, right? Before I log into my computer, I have been doing my devotionals and my reflections. So thank you, Tashikwa, for gifting me that devotional. It has definitely come in handy. And so once I'm done with my devotional and my reflections, then I take a moment to um, journal my gratitudes. I find that it's so easy for us to get caught up and quick to navigate to what's going wrong and what's not right and why things are not perfect. But I find
Hmm.
that you have to be more intentional when it comes to the gratitude. So instead of saying, oh my
Yes,
God, I don't want to go to this job or log on to this computer, be thankful you have a job because if these
agreed.
last couple of years has taught us nothing, it is that this job market is trash and you just need to be thankful for, what it is that you
What we
have.
have.
Trash, I'm
Hmm.
repeating the words of the people. That's what I see all across LinkedIn and social media and all that word. I'm sure there's a better word for it, but it's bad. It's tough out there. And so being more intentional and basically this time is kind of setting my tone for the day, right? It's
Hmm.
giving me that boost of dopamine that I need to kind of get me through the day and keep me positive
Hmm.
and things like that, because you don't want to start your morning off on the wrong foot because that can
No.
take the whole day down. And so after I practice my gratitude and things like that, then I take the opportunity to write down 3 to 5 things that I want to do and accomplish for the day, like important things that I want to accomplish for the day. And then once I have that outline, and then I'll go in and fill in my meetings and different things of that sort. And so I find that since I've been doing this, my days have gone by smoothly. I don't get as irritated and frustrated as much. Um, and it's usually a pretty good day for the most part. And so those are some of my self-care things that I do to set myself up for success in the morning. Do any of you do that? I know, Fab, you said you mentioned you had a morning routine. You don't have to go in depth with it, but what is
Hmm.
like non-negotiable for your mornings?
Non-negotiable for me is definitely acknowledging God, saying, thank you for waking me up this morning and getting that face wash in. I have to get that. I'm telling you, I have to get that face wash in early in the morning. So that those two are my non-negotiables. So and
Okay.
it's pretty much in line with yours. Now I don't journal early morning because I'm normally running around trying to get one
Mm-hmm.
person off to soccer and another person to gymnastics. So I don't have enough
Mm-hmm.
time to journal first thing in the morning. But yeah, my non-negotiable, wash that face, get it clean, get all that matter out of your eyes, and
Yeah.
feel a little better. And if I have enough time, then I'm jumping in that shower. Even though I work from home, I want to feel clean and
Right.
good.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah. How
My
about you,
Okay.
Tashika?
non-negotiable is I have to have a shower. Like I have to have me a wake up shower because most of the
Yes.
time I'm getting up with the boys. And it varies. So I'm kind of lucky that I go in at 9. But I'm
Hmm.
waking up sometimes I gotta go drop them off at 5:30. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
6:30. So those times kind of fluctuate. And I know like I need a pick me up shower. I because and then also my devotion. I do my devotion in the morning, and I'm kind of like Fab. I like to journal at the end of the day. I'm gonna
Hmm.
take what Missy says and add some gratitude because by that time
I
I'm
need to
venting.
add the gratitude.
I'm venting what went on today.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely I find that doing it, I tried it at not in the evenings. But I'm not gonna say my evenings are chaotic, but I find that doing it in the morning allows me to be more present and positive throughout the day.
Yes.
And then I've gone to working out in the evening, and I find that once I get that workout, I'm tired, and so it's lights out, for the most part.
Hmm.
And I find that
Hmm.
it just, I don't know, the expression of gratitude is just is throughout the day, and
Hmm.
um, and I'm liking it, I'm loving it. So,
Hmm.
all
It's
right,
good.
all right. So, Fab. What's like your busy? How are you prioritizing self-care? What's your plan for the year?
Okay, so when it comes to busy people, just thinking about it in general, because we live in a society today, right, where everybody likes things microwave, put it in a
Yeah.
microwave, it's done. We all want to get everything done quickly, but self-care is
Mm-hmm.
also very important. But self-care means a lot of things for different people. So as it relates
Right.
to me, I want to start with the quick mental breaks. I feel like some of the
Mm-hmm.
things that I like to do is take the moment of like just take 5 minutes out just to think, reflect on what's
Mm-hmm.
going on at work. Most jobs you get that additional 2 15-minute breaks. So I'm like, okay, let me take a step back and think about, okay, like what am I doing today? What am I gonna do tomorrow? Have I
Mm-hmm.
completed everything I needed to do? So doing that is really good. Another thing is the gratitude part on what you just said, Misty. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
started that, but I've heard a lot about it. I've heard a lot of people talk about,
Mm-hmm.
hey, the gratitude. I do have a blessings jar. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the blessing jar,
Mm-hmm.
and I've actually made some for friends for Christmas. So I'm gonna have to get you guys
Mm-hmm.
one.
Yes,
But
please.
my blessing jar, it's a little jar, and
Okay.
it comes with like these little brown pieces of paper, and you every
Mm-hmm.
time something happens in your life that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. I
Mm-hmm.
take that, write it down, date it, and I put it in that jar. And it's
Oh, okay.
really big, but I've made all of my friends one year for Christmas. They were so excited, and then it had a little
Mm-hmm.
sticker on it that said "Made with Fat by Fab with love." So I'm gonna definitely
Mm-hmm.
get you guys one.
That's
But I
cute.
do put like the things that I'm thankful for inside of that
Mm-hmm.
jar, and I'll go back and look at that from time to time. And moving on from mental breaks. So taking that mental break out is very important. Try to get that in sometimes. And then
Mhm.
another is on the physical side. What do I do for physical care for myself? So sometimes I'll get up and I'll walk around. There have been a couple of days I've gotten up, put Jayden in his little car and pushed it up the sidewalk. So I try
Mhm.
to get out and smell the air. One time I went out and a bee chased me, and I was like, okay, we ain't doing this for a while.
Got some real exercise in it there, nigga.
Yes.
I was like, Lord, so let me
Mhm.
leave my baby right here now, Jesus. Y'all
Mhm.
remember when Kevin Hart had said that he was at the zoo and that
Oh,
gorilla hit that window and he dropped his baby. He was like, when that bee came after me, I was like, Lord, I cannot leave this stroller right here, please. All just aside, get out there, walk if you work from home. If you're in an office, get out and walk. There's a parking lot. Just get out, escape. We people don't know how much it is to sometimes just control alt delete and walk away. So
right.
that's important. And emotional, and so as far as the emotional and social care, some of the things I like to do is just check in with myself. Like, how
Mhm.
am I feeling? And that's through journaling, writing down my thoughts and my feelings. I feel like over the years, it's been easier for me to overcome some things that are done by just sitting down and journaling. I know I need to
Mhm.
open up more, and I'm working on that. But I am really big
Mhm.
at journaling and just putting my thoughts down on paper. And practical self care. Take some time out for yourself. I feel it's really important to go and get your toes done. I hear so many
Mhm.
women that say, I haven't done anything for myself and I don't know how long because I'm doing for the kids. I had one friend tell me one time that she hadn't bought herself new underwear in years. Where they do that at? I'm like, girl, no,
Clearly, I
like
don't know.
you have to get out and do something for yourself. So getting out, getting your toes in. I don't, a lot of the times we don't date ourselves.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, we're in
Right.
marriages and everything, but you can get out and do something for yourself and by yourself. You
Mhm.
don't necessarily have to be on the phone. You don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to have someone on the side of you. Get out and do some
Mhm.
things by yourself and some things that you haven't done, but you're interested in doing.
Mhm.
And that's all I have to say. Is there anything that you
Yeah.
guys have that you do a little differently when it comes to like the mental aspect of self-care, physical, and or just checking in with yourself?
I think that I am currently, well, the one thing that I do is I disconnect from social media because sometimes I doom scroll and I like scroll and I'll
Mhm.
just be scrolling and get lost. But I have to I have to start setting healthy boundaries. As being the
Mhm.
older sibling, sometimes I put
Mm-hmm.
like the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I got to kind of
Oh,
step back and really learn how to set the healthy boundaries and not feel guilty that I had to set them. So that's something that
Mm.
I'm
yeah.
working on for my mental health. But yeah, just disconnecting from social media and currently working on setting healthy boundaries and also trying to lose a little bit of can't say baby weight because I got they old now. Can't say baby weight.
It's still baby weight, girl. It's still baby weight. So you could say that. Baby can be 19 and it still can be baby weight. So
Right.
I
yes.
will say this. I don't have the big social media thing because like I have a Facebook, but
Mhm.
I'm only a part of groups. So I'm a
Mm.
part of all these different groups, like the snake club and
Yeah.
the garden club, so I don't get a chance to get caught up in going through it. But I understand what you're saying because I do know some people. When I talk to them, what are you doing? Scrolling through social media. I feel like
Mhm.
it's just it draws people in. So kudos to you for working on that.
Yeah, I think social media is something else. And for me, as someone who's trying to build a presence on social media, I like to tell myself I'm doing research.
Who's of research?
I'm researching y'all. Leave me alone.
I know, I'm researching. So I like to tell myself I'm researching, right?
Yeah.
But at some point I tell myself, okay, Missy, you've done enough. It's time to put down and start to put in the work, right? But I think also, sometimes what I want to say is I think sometimes a lot of people think that self-care has to be this big, extravagant thing where they have to go to the spa and do all this stuff.
Mhm.
Self-care can be go and sit on the porch while the kids inside the house just so you can
Yes.
just recenter. Self-care, if you
Yes.
can't get outside, go to the bathroom and lock the door. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just so you can have that sense of self and reconnect with yourself. And let's face it, sometimes I don't know about you guys, but sometimes we get overwhelmed and overstimulated. And
Mhm.
sometimes I physically have to go wherever I'm going, lock the door, and just sit there for a minute and be like, okay, Missy,
Mhm.
bring it back, come back,
Yes.
because there is a lot, right? But for me, I try to find the little joys in just being by myself because I'm very much introverted and as
Mhm.
someone who now has 3 children now, the children sometimes you just got to be on all the time, right? And so I find joy in just going to the store like I did today. I went to the store by myself today and I just walked down the
Oh.
aisles of HEB and took my time and was like, okay, this is what we need. When I got done with that, I sat in the car for like 20 minutes, you know, bought myself I bought myself some of those, one of those HEB bouquets of flowers so I can sit it on my desk and
Oh.
see it throughout the week. I do little things like that from time to time. It used to be going to the salon and stuff like that, but now my husband comes and we kind of make it like a day date, and get manis and patties and
Oh.
things like that together. And as far as like social media and recenter and detoxing, I went and got me a Kindle because I want to get back into
Mhm.
reading. And I find that, with everything going digital, and I don't want to necessarily clutter up the house with physical copies of books. So I got a Kindle because I find that if it's on my phone and those notifications are coming through, it's going to be distracting. And so I have something external from my phone to read on. And so I got a Kindle. And those are like some of the little things that I do. Go on girls' trips. It doesn't, if you really want to do something, go on so it does not take a lot of money. It can be a walk in the park with a cup of coffee. It doesn't take much. But Tashikwa, you brought up an important point, about setting boundaries and protecting your energy. Tell us more about how you're
Yes.
doing that in this year.
Learning to say no and not feeling guilty because I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Or um, I think overexerting myself as being the older child, and not wanting my siblings to hurt. But sometimes they
Yeah.
need that for to
Mm-hmm.
growth, and they'll call and they'll cry, and then that cry will be like, let me fix it. I don't want you to cry. And sometimes maybe that
Yeah.
cry is what they need to develop themselves. And it's like I'm putting a band-aid on something that they need to, like, it needs to heal. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Mhm.
I don't need to be, the old bag lady, right, with all the band-aids and just walking around and patching
That's a
everybody
good
up
way to put
because
it.
yeah, it's like because I like because when I'm depleted, who's there for me, right? And
Right.
Yeah.
so as being, I have four male children. Two of them are in every sport known to man, and they're gonna need their mom. So I have to
Yeah.
just learn to say, no, stop band-aiding everything. And but with the old, as I've seen, like being the older child, sometimes can weigh on you because you do feel in a sense like
Yes.
a second parent, and you need to do
Mm.
that's a part of your responsibility, in a sense, even though no one said it or set in stone, but you feel that
Right.
sense of I can do it, why not? And sometimes you
Mm-hmm.
have to be like, I got to show you tough love. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
working on, and it's kind of been a struggle for the past couple of years. I think the past few months have been a little bit harder, and I've kind
Mm-hmm.
of given in. Like I was like really harsh, and then I was like, oh no, I'm too harsh, and then I started just giving in too much. So I'm just learning how to balance that out. So I'll keep you guys updated on that.
Mm-hmm. And how has
Good.
your folks been responding to you now setting those boundaries since they've been used to you always being there?
So what I've learned now is it went from I don't think the boundaries have been respected, but it's because I have not been firm with them. Because now
Yeah.
it'll come with tears, and so the
Right.
tears, like, oh, let me fix it. Like I don't want anybody to cry. So I think I just need to work on that. Like the tears, like, all right, well, you just get a tissue, wipe them off, you'll be fine. Yeah, yeah. So
I
I just
feel
need to
like
be.
it's almost like weaning a baby, though, when you're setting those boundaries. You know, you can't cold turkey,
Yeah,
a baby when you're weaning them from breastfeeding. I don't know how, I know you guys have breastfed as well, but um, I feel like it's a process, So,
I
you
went
know,
cold turkey. I,
did you?
I went
Yeah,
cold turkey completely.
did you?
Um, and because as the older sibling, and there was only two of us, and
Um,
I went cold turkey, and we didn't speak for a good number of years behind that. Here recently, we started back speaking, and our relationship is great now, you know, and I love it. There was some growing up that both of us had to do. But y'all know me, I am one for boundaries.
yeah,
yes,
I am one for boundaries. I do not play when it comes to that. And I love my husband for that too, right? Because if I'm not gonna set the boundary, he's gonna set the
yeah,
boundary, you know what I
right,
mean? And
right.
so even when it comes to the kids and stuff like that, he'll be like, "Leave my wife alone. Let my wife get some rest. Go in your room. Let my wife get some rest." And he has a habit of helping me protect my energy.
hmm
Yeah, that's
And I
good.
love that about him because he can see me stressed out about the job sometime. And even though, I'm this boss and I'm very direct and very tell it like it is and things like that, sometimes I do let it get to me. And he's like, "Babe,
Yeah,
it's just a job. You can
yeah,
find another one." And I'm just
yeah.
like, "No, I want to make sure I'm making
I
an
can't get the
impact. I want to
effort.
do this and this and this." And he's like, "And what they gonna do for you?" He's like, "It's just a job." And so I definitely, when I have those moments of weaknesses and things like that, he's definitely there to step in and say, "Hey, I got you. Let's do this."
That's
And
good.
so
yeah,
kind of help me recenter. But I think setting boundaries, it depends on what you want and how you want people to take that. But if you don't respect the boundaries that you put in place, how do you expect
yeah.
other people to you know, respect those boundaries and stuff? Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, Fab, how are you over there protecting your energy?
Well, I mean, for me, the mine's is just diving into my religion, my Christianity.
Mhm.
I feel like the word says that joy comes in the morning. So,
Mhm.
once you get that cry out, once
Yeah.
um you just thought about it or meditated on it. One of my favorite scriptures is where, in the Bible, where he says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you
Mhm.
rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I'm meek, lowly in heart, and you will find rest unto your soul."
Mhm.
So my biggest thing is, even when I have opposition or different things that's coming up against me, or I feel myself weary in a certain area, I
Mhm.
always lean on, my religion and what
Mhm.
I was taught coming up as a kid, and the stories that I've read, and it brings me joy. To be honest with you, I had a friend, and I think I've shared this with you guys before. They told me that you are the strongest spirit. So
Mhm.
for her to hear me break down, it's like, wait, this is Fab. This is the strongest spiritual person I know. So
Mhm.
for me, I always have to reach back into my foundation. And my
Mhm.
foundation has always been upon God. I do have an issue with the boundaries, and it's crazy because you think that, oh, you hit a certain age and it just clicks, and it doesn't. It
Mhm.
sometimes I mean, you'll find yourself older and not being that person, being able to tell people no. But like Tashik was just saying, I'm at that point now too where I feel like I've allowed people to pour and pour so much on me, and that includes siblings as well too, to where I'm like, yeah, it's a no. But I'm like, when I say no,
Mhm.
I do mean no, and I'm starting to stand on my
Mhm.
no. But I'm learning not to allow people to draw me in, because what people do is they'll manipulate the situation to draw you back in. So I'm learning how to not feed into that manipulation, to say how I feel, but in a way that would be pleasing to Christ, right? So saying
Mhm.
it in a way
Mhm.
that is pleasing to Christ, but then also where I'm him and standing on my own, as well,
Mhm.
and letting them know like, hey, you can do this. And I don't feel like just I also feel like Tashika said, I like to like say, okay, I can't do this for you, but let's see what I can do to help you get to where you're trying to get to, you know? So whether it's someone like they're looking to borrow money, and I've had to get to that point where I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. But let me try to help you in this area instead.
Mhm.
There's a scripture, and and I'm done. I'm gonna get off of this, but where people were going to the gate of beautiful, and he told them, he said, "Silver and gold have I none." So it was a man standing, and he was begging. He said, "Silver and gold have I none; such I have, give I thee. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk." So he was basically saying, I don't have the money to give you. And it's okay to tell someone, I'm not going to
Mhm.
give you the money, but I can do this for you instead. Let
Right.
me help you with your resume.
Mhm.
You obviously you need another job, or let me do this for you instead to help get you on your feet. So,
Mhm.
that's I'm definitely working on it, and no, it's sounding really good, and not letting people pull me out
Mhm.
of that no is it's even better. I mean, I think that once you get to that point, you're just like, you feel like Superwoman. Put that cape on.
Mhm.
Like, what did Kevin Hart say when his mama told him he could cuss that day when he was going
Oh,
to school?
Yeah, yeah.
He said, I took my jacket and I said, "Flap." So my mama told me to tell you.
hell you,
So yeah,
baby.
I'm
Mm.
learning. Look, Missy, I'm learning, and I'm learning from you guys as well. So I'm learning like, hey, boundaries is it's important. It's
It's
really
very
important, because
important.
if not, honestly, what I've learned, even in your work life,
It's important in
if you don't have
all
the capability to set boundaries in your personal life, guess what?
aspects.
It's gonna show in your work life.
Exactly.
And you will
Mhm.
find yourself being passed over, or people trying to treat you like you're a baby. And then
Mhm.
you're thinking to yourself, I ain't no baby. Why are you talking to me like that? Because I ain't no baby. But
Mhm.
you haven't said we haven't learned how to set those boundaries. So people tend to try to coddle us, and or
Right.
treat us the way they want to treat us. So yeah, it's
Right.
important. It's important to teach our kids that too,
Oh,
but teach them,
absolutely.
so that when they get older, they have boundaries and they know how to
Right.
set them.
Right.
Yeah.
Boundaries are important in every aspect of your life.
Yes.
No matter the relation, even with your kids, your spouse, your home,
Spouse.
your family, your work. Boundaries are important in every aspect of your life. And I think in order for folks to truly understand what their boundaries are, to go about setting those boundaries, is for them
Yes.
to figure out what it is that they want, or to figure out what it is that's draining them. Sometimes you don't know what's draining you until you're intentionally focused on it. And I think you have to be mindful of the people who only call you when they need something, the people who always calling to talk about bad news or to gossip and things of that sort. You have to be mindful of saying yes to things when you are uncomfortable or unsure if you can even
Mhm.
do it or even want to do it for that matter. You know what I mean? You have to be mindful of your children trying to play you against your spouse, because as kids they do those things, and no
Mhm.
fault to them. You just have to teach them right or wrong.
Mhm.
You have to be
That's true.
mindful of even yourself and being afraid to just rest. We
Yeah.
work all week if you work, especially if you work outside the home. You work all week and then you come home on the weekend. You don't want to sit down. You want to do this, you want to do that. You got to go here, you got to go there. And before you know it, it's 10 o'clock and you hadn't sat down all day. and then you get up in the
Mhm.
next morning and do the same thing, and it's just like it's okay to rest sometimes. And I think some
Yeah.
people, get caught up in being a strong black woman or a strong woman or even a strong man, and they're
Mhm.
always moving and constantly finding something to do. And when you're not finding anything to do, you're thinking that you're not being productive. But there's productivity in resting,
Yeah.
and I
That's
need people to
true.
understand that and really truly rest. It will get
Yeah.
done. You will come to my
Agree.
house. It may not all, I'll probably have a load of laundry waiting to be folded.
Mhm.
But guess what? They're clean, you know?
Yeah.
And so I just need people to understand,
I'm
like,
learning that. This is
yeah,
good. I am actually learning that because I was like, at one point, like, man, I don't have this done. I need to get this done.
you,
And I just started saying, excuse my, forget it. Like, I was just like, forget
it'll get
that.
done. It'll
Like,
get
I'm
done.
not fixing to stress myself. That
Yeah,
bathroom will get cleaned when I get a chance to clean it. And
yeah.
just like, there's only so much I can do without
You're
burning
one
myself out.
person. You are
Yes.
one person. And yeah, it's very important. And you have to be okay with not being able to do it all.
Yeah.
Especially, y- you know, we all just had kids, not just,
Yeah.
but we all
Yeah.
just, had kids and stuff.
Mhm.
And I was beating myself up so bad after my last baby because I'm like, I should be healed by now. I should be able to do
Mhm.
this. I should be able to do that. And I was so frustrated. And my husband was like, babe, you just brought a life into this world, and it wasn't
Yeah.
easy. There was some things that was happening that was keeping me, from healing as quickly as I was accustomed to. I'll say it that way.
Right.
And then too, I'm older, so
Yeah.
there's that,
They don't act like that.
and
Mhm.
he was just like, you know what, it's okay. There's food in the house. I know, well, he cooks 90% of the time anyway, so he's like, there's food in the house. We got what we need. The clothes are clean. They don't have to be folded. They're clean. We'll figure it out, and you have to be okay with that. I was listening to somebody, and it was the lady had just had a baby, not even 4 days, and folks was coming to see the baby, and she was around the house just cooking, and
Oh
I know
wow.
in some cultures that's okay. She was around the house cooking and serving people and things like that, and I'm like, why is she not resting? Why doesn't she have her foot up and people catering to her and things of that sort? And for me, I was like, I don't want nobody in my house for a week at least, or two
Yeah.
after I get home. A month if you can, but if you can't, then
Yeah.
then I understand.
Yeah.
If you want to come by, that's fine. I may not come out to speak to you, but just know I appreciate you for thinking about us. But yeah, we
Hmm.
have to get okay with resting and taking care of ourselves and being okay with
Yes.
saying no, especially if
Yeah.
it's
Agreed.
truly a no.
Yes.
Agreed.
And I encourage
Agreed.
the audience to really think about, how they
Boundaries.
want their lives to look in this upcoming year and moving forward. What are some things that you can take off your plate and say no to? What are
Hmm.
some things that
Mhm.
you can delegate to your children? What are some things you can delegate to your spouse to make your life a little bit more at ease?
Yeah.
Um, children, they can clean their room. My child is 7, and I'll tell her in a
Mhm.
minute, hey, let's go, let's get it. Let's go clean this room. Just really think about that and think about how you want this year to shape out and how you want things to go moving forward. And, think about some things you can remove from your list. Take off the cape. It's okay. It's okay.
Mhm. I
Anything
agree.
y'all want to
Well
add to
said.
that?
No, that was well
I
said.
think you
I
said
know
that.
I
Yeah,
was preaching,
that was
wasn't it? I got
good.
in the
Yeah.
mood,
Really
and
were.
hey,
That was
The
good.
mic
I
drop.
took,
It was
I took a
good.
note from Sister Fab.
Yes.
It was definitely, I mean, everything that you said to the audience today is definitely needed. Hopefully,
Yeah.
a lot of people can resonate with what you said and
Hmm.
actually take some of that in, like set those boundaries. Like
Yes.
Mm,
hear everything that Missy said, set those boundaries. It's important because when they're not set in one place, they're not set in another. And I've learned that a lot of it just stems from also childhood. There's a lot of
Oh,
childhood trauma And
Mhm.
me myself, I went through seeing an actual counselor because I heard there was a common the I
The
don't know,
rapper.
they rapper, singer, whichever,
Okay,
but
the
Yeah.
he
rapper. Yeah,
said that actor, yeah, he's an actor as well. He said that in the Black community, a lot of people shy away from
they do.
counseling,
Hmm.
Mhm.
and counseling is a part of self like care,
It's a
self
part of your
help.
health. It's a part of your health.
And a lot of insurance companies give it. Listen, a lot of people are taking childhood trauma into their marriages, into their workplace. Um, there's just
Passing
a,
it to
I,
their
so I feel like,
children.
yes, I mean, so like, let's get counseling. Like I've gone through it. I feel like it's helped me with boundaries because
Mhm.
she was able to tell me where, why I had an issue with setting boundaries, where it
Mhm.
stemmed from. So, um it has been amazing. It's been
Yeah.
amazing. I still see her because of that. It's just I mean, you need that help. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. All right. Um, anything else regarding self-care at the moment before we wrap up?
Well, I think we covered it.
Nope.
yeah,
To one. Oh, guys. Oh my God.
word
We
for the
forgot
day.
our word of the week.
Week, yes, word for the week.
Yes,
So,
Bab. So what's the word of the week?
well, just thinking about self-care and everything we talked about as far as boundaries and all of that, I've decided that, hey, we should go with resilience, right? So, resilience, the ability to adapt and recover from challenges. So,
Mm.
take this word for the week, become resilient, set those boundaries, learn to adapt, and recover
Mhm.
from any challenges, any boundaries. You said, as Hashiko said, her siblings like to, they'll cry to her, and so it makes her open up her heart even more so. But becoming resilient in whatever boundary that you set, I think that would be amazing, and it'll work out for everyone. So resilience is the word for this week. Try to use that word with someone else and try to become resilient. And then also let us know what your word is for this week. If you have a word that you would like to share with us, please drop that in the comments and we'll definitely share your
Mhm.
name and your word that you passed over to us. So, all right, Missy, let's close
Awesome.
out.
All right. So let's get back to this raffle, guys. You heard it. We'll drop the word of the week in the show notes, in the description box. The win word of the week is resilience.
Resilience.
So, all right, back to the raffle. So, in order to qualify for the raffle, we need you guys to one, subscribe to our channel, or like our pod wherever you're listening to the podcast, follow us, save all that good stuff, but subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're going to drop your word for the week in the comments, and then we want you guys to follow us on Instagram. It is at the Win Podcast on Instagram. Like our most recent post. If you want, drop your word of the week there as well. And then we want you to invite your friends. Tell your friend to tell a friend to come on
Yes.
over and join the Win Party. And what we want you to do is we want you to have them tell us who referred them, and or they can at you in the comment when you tell us your word of the week. And what's going to happen, we're going to do a raffle. You're going to enter into the raffle. We're going to do a drawing every 300 subscribers that we get on here on YouTube. We're going to do a raffle. We don't know how long this raffle is going to go, you guys, but there will be multiple winners. And then on our final raffle, we are going to, one, you guys are going to get a wonderful journal that's authored and
Yeah.
published by our very own
Yes.
Miss Fab. Okay. And then guess
Yay.
what? You will also be the first person to get some win merch. Yes, we
Woo.
are coming out with merch, guys, and you will be the first to get that merch if you win this last raffle. So, like we said, we'll
Yes.
drop the rules to qualify for those in the show notes as well as in the description box on YouTube. So, make sure you do your due diligence and do your part in helping support this channel, support our podcast. We definitely appreciate it. Okay? So, any final words, you guys, before we wrap up the episode?
What I was gonna say was that should we remind them what WIN stands for?
WIN stands for We Heal, Elevate, and Navigate. This thing called adulting, this journey called adulting. It's about us really coming together as a sisterhood and motivated and elevated and sharing those elevations and those things with you guys. We learn one, teach one, right? Alrighty. Well, with that, we say adios. Bye, guys.
Bye.